Hey, it's Dr. Nuesse back with another video, and this is another update video. This one pertains specifically to the process of implementation for saliva drug testing when it comes to the Department of Transportation. So again, just to bring everybody up to speed, and I've made a number of different videos about this. I won't go all into detail, but the Department of Transportation this past summer, the summer of 2023, finalized a rule where companies could choose to use oral fluid saliva testing to test for drugs instead of what is mandated now, which is a urinalysis. So we're not quite there yet. We don't quite have that rule fully implemented, and I'm going to go over that update here in just a second. But why is this a big deal? Why is it a big deal that we can use saliva testing instead of a urinalysis? So, and again, I've made a number of different videos about this. I'm not going to bore everybody to death if you've seen the previous videos, but it changes the detection window significantly. So with a urinalysis, as it is right now, if you are a marijuana user or were a marijuana user, you could test positive for multiple months after stopping use. So you could stop using and then several months later still be testing positive even though you're not using. So what the intent of this rule is, at least in part, is to catch people that are using currently, that are active users. So with a saliva test, you can only test positive for a couple of days after stopping use. So it is a major change. The implementation has been very slow. I am in regular contact with the Department of Transportation and HHS as well, who's going through the certification process for the labs. So I recently just got an update through email. So this is inside information. Through an email, which actually has a date range for potential implementation. Up until now, we've kind of been at their mercy, them just saying, we'll do it as soon as we can, we want to get it right, et cetera, all that government speak about how, we're going to follow the standards, we're going to follow the law, we're going to do it correctly, we've got the best intentions, all that stuff. But now we've actually got a date. And I don't know if they just to appease me, they slipped this in there, but they put it in here, so I am going to communicate it with you. All right, let's take a look at the email specifically. All right, so this email specifically is from the Division of Workplace Programs, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. So they've got all their acronyms up there, the DWP and the SAMHSA, and they give a few updates here. So I'll just read through it kind of briefly. So thank you for your question regarding the certification of laboratories. I specifically asked about laboratory certification because that seems to be the big holdup, is that we need 2 laboratories that are certified to be able to provide saliva testing before the Department of Transportation can implement this rule. So we can't do it now because we don't have 2 laboratories. That's the holdup. The Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, is pleased to share some updates on ongoing efforts to support laboratories seeking certification. Our commitment to uphold rigorous standards for test accuracy and reliability is underscored by a series of key initiatives led by the Division of Workplace Programs, the DWP, in the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA. Centers for Substance Abuse Prevention, CSAP. These initiatives include the creation and dissemination of essential resources, collaboration with oral fluid collection device manufacturers. This is going to come up again a little bit later in the email. Engagement with the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, regarding the clearance process and our collective approach to overcoming challenges faced by the laboratories which require HHS certification. So again, just a lot of kind of government speak about how they're doing their best, they want to follow the standards, blah, 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 etc. We've heard this over and over from the government. All we hear from the government is we're going to follow the standards, give us as much time as we need, we're not going to be rushed, all that kind of stuff. They give us 4 specific updates in this email. All right, so the first update, the general updates, is the SAMHSA created and published the Oral Fluid Collection Handbook. So the handbook that most likely the collectors, the drug testers, are going to be using, and also the Combined Urine and Oral Fluid Federal Custody and Control Form, the CCF, which is the form that is used to fill out all of the donor's information, the custody and control form. We use those currently with the urinalysis now. They have one specifically for the saliva testing. And they're actively engaged with oral fluid collection device manufacturers to identify their needs. So again, we need a collection device that needs to be certified by the federal government as well. Additionally, SAM-HSA offers applicant laboratories initial inspections and proficiency testing at no cost, and provides subject matter expert support through gap analysis at no cost to facilitate the laboratory certification preparation. So again, the government's doing their best, basically, is what they're saying here. All right, so this update 2 is really where it gets important, the information gets important. This is the status of laboratory certification, which is a big holdup to the implementation of saliva testing. So their update is, at present, 2 laboratories have formally expressed their intention to seek HHS certification for the administration of oral fluid testing protocols. These laboratories are currently navigating the certification process, which is designed to ensure adherence to the standards and guidelines governing test accuracy and reliability. The certification process generally takes approximately 3 to 6 months from the time of application. So we actually have a real update here, because up until this point, they haven't even let us know if any labs were applying or had applied or were going through the process. So now we have definitively that 2 labs are in the process of being certified, and that process can take up to 6 months. So let's just move forward. It's almost March now. So we're talking March, April, May, June, July, August. So by the end of August, this certification process with the labs should be complete. All right, then in update number 3, they kind of take some of the air out of the bubble, the obstacles and collaborative efforts update. There are limitations in the availability of FDA-approved reagents, which align with the initial immunoassay testing criteria. These constraints are compounded by the ongoing disruptions of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is 2024 now. Are we seriously still blaming the COVID-19 that happened, that the government shutdown happened in 2020, almost 4 years ago? It's kind of crazy. So in response, SAM-HSA is collaborating with the FDA on the applicant laboratories to address these complexities and discuss streamlining the 510(k) clearance and device approval process. So basically what they're saying is that, maybe we won't be able to implement it quite so quickly because we need devices that meet federal standards, and we have a shortage of reagents which we need to be able to use to do the testing. And then finally, update number 4, and then I will get to an actual date range because they quote a date range here at the end. Regulatory and authority clarification. I won't read this whole thing. Basically what this states is that the federal government is not the ones slowing down the certification process, the laboratory certification process. They will move as quickly as the labs move, but the labs are the ones that need to meet all of the requirements. So as soon as the labs meet the requirements, the government can certify them, but it's really up to the labs to move through that process, and the speed basically is up to the labs. That's what that number 4 states. All right, so let's get to the date. So at the very bottom, HHS remains committed to the certification of oral fluid testing laboratories, and SAM-HSA has made significant progress in assisting laboratories to navigate the certification process since the Department of Transportation published the final rule on May of 23, so this past May. HHS continues to work tirelessly alongside our partners to streamline and enhance the certification process. Here's the date. We anticipate that the certification of the first HHS certified oral fluid laboratory will take place in the first quarter of next year. So a year from now basically is the date that they are giving us of when the certification of the laboratories will take place. So a year from today's date. So in the winter of 2025. That's the date range that they are giving us. Again, they said 3 to 6 months to get this certification process. I guess they're just giving themselves some wiggle room here. But again, they are giving us an actual date, or a date range, I guess, which is the first quarter, so January, February, or March of 2025. So that is when we should expect, all of this is kind of still up in the air and subject to change. Of course, we can't hold the federal government to anything, but they're giving us a date for the implementation of saliva fluid testing of January, February, or March of 2025. So that is the update for today. I will continue to make updates as soon as I get new information. Stay subscribed here. Click the bell icon so that you get notified when I make update videos. I want people to be informed. And until next time, everybody, stay safe.